What's going on, everyone? My name is Pimkin and I appreciate you for coming to this video. This video is the first in a series on how to choose your car in Rocket League. So this can obviously be for new players that have not chosen a car that they really like yet, but I'm doing this for myself as a player kind of having a mid-game crisis. I played with a few cars and I think I found one that I like that I can use as my main, but I want to make sure that I'm playing with the best car for me and a car that fits my play style. So in theory, I think finding a car that is best for me is an important step to improve as a player. So let's get right into it and see what car is the best for me in Rocket League. Alright, so these experiments or tests that I'm going to be running on each car are going to be going through each of the car hitboxes that we have in Rocket League. So we have the Breakout, the Dominus, the Plank, the Hybrid, the Merc, and the Octane hitboxes. So today we're going to be talking about the Breakout, which was actually my first car in Rocket League. It was the first car that I picked up, and I'm going to be doing a couple tests that are just some general measures of performance. By no means are these every single thing that a car is going to be doing in a game, but I wanted to give some general things that are going to happen almost every game, depending on your play style. So I'm going to be testing power shots, power clears, dribbling, flicks, aerial shots, and then one actual game to see how it feels against some other players in the normal game setting. So the first couple are just going to be some custom training, so I have a controlled environment to see how each of those perform, and then we're going to get it into an actual environment against other players and see how the general feel of the car is when you're playing. So let's get into the tests. Alright, so for the first test that we have here, we have some power shots, and just doing this simple shot here from the strength and accuracy training pack, and I just want a really controlled shot, so just shooting straight at the goal here from right in front, not worrying too much about aiming the shot, just seeing how hard we can hit it, see if we can get a little bit of curve on it, maybe to the corners of the goal from time to time. And I think this test went pretty well with the Breakout. I think it could have been a little bit better. I get a little bit of chipping the ball up from time to time just because the nose is kind of narrow. Like I felt like I didn't have a good square, tall hitbox at the front of my car. Then the nose is a little short, and sometimes I chip the ball up instead of hitting it straight forward. But overall, getting okay power here. We'll have to look at how it compares to some of the other cars, but I got to about 55 miles per hour was the highest one that I got during this testing. But as I mentioned, the main thing that I felt with the power shooting is it does have a tendency sometimes to chip the ball up instead of hitting the ball cleanly forward, which may give an advantage to some cars that are a little bit taller that wouldn't have that same kind of issue, but pretty good overall. But now we're going to be transitioning into the power clears. So we're using the same strength and accuracy playlist from the custom training, and we're just using one of these later shots, which is kind of coming all the way from our goal. And so for the power clears, we're just doing a little ground bounce here, getting a full power clear all the way down the field. And I think it felt better than the power shots overall. And I think one of the main things is just, it's okay if I chip the ball up a little bit more and I can get it all the way down the field with that still. So it felt pretty good with the power clears, pretty similar to power shots, but chipping the ball up is okay. So it felt pretty good with this test. The next test that we're going to be doing is dribbling. And for dribbling, we are just in free play. And I wanted to test this in a couple ways. And I wanted to focus on getting the ball on the car first. And so I test two ways with that. The first method that I'm testing here is just cut-in dribbling. So I'm just pushing the ball forward and then cutting into the side of it and seeing if I can push it up onto my car that way, just with the side of my car. And I think with the Breakout, there are some good things and some bad things about this. I think the good thing is because the car is pretty low as a hitbox, it is easy to get the ball up over the side of your car, but once you do get it on there, it's easy just to drive all the way underneath it. The overall control is okay once you have the ball on top, but getting it settled on the car is a little bit rough because it's possible as you cut in to just push it all the way to the backside of the car and you drive all the way underneath it, or you just have to really recover after your first touch because it's rolling from the left side of the car all the way to the right side of the car. I didn't love that feel. I like to have a little bit more on the side of the car to push against because it's hard to make some of these corners. So as I'm trying to turn, if I'm coming up the field at an angle and I want to turn more into the goal, I don't have that big tall side to push against, and it makes some of the cornering a little touchier. It's still possible to make all of those turns. It's not something I'm used to and not something I would really prefer. I'd like to have stronger, taller side so that I can push against. So cut and dribbling went okay overall, and the control of dribbling feels pretty good. But the next thing that I wanted to get into is just seeing if I'm chipping the ball up, if that gives me kind of a different feel of things, because I don't have to worry as much about the ball pushing all the way across my car. And so chipping the ball up is pretty easy with this short hitbox. And the first touch on the ball is pretty light. Once I bounce the ball off the hood or just off the very top of my car, it feels pretty good. But same kind of thing once I get the ball on my car. The control is all right, but I think personally for me, as far as a car that I like to dribble with, I don't feel as controlled if I do need to make a bit of an adjustment or a turn to the side. Not having really any tall edge on the left or the right side of my car makes the cornering a lot touchier. I feel like I have to go slower and not quite as controlled. So the next test that we're going to be doing skips the part of dribbling of getting the ball onto the car. So after we have the ball on the car, we want to just check out how flicks are in general. So I'm using this dribble training here by Verge, and we're going to be replaying just the first shot in this, so we have easy control of the ball, kind of dropping down right to us, and just focusing on flicks. And as I went through this, I still have a little bit of the shakiness of dribbling with the car. As I get from one side to the other, it feels prone to roll off, but flicking the ball overall feels really nice. Forward flicking, backward flicking, all the things kind of in the north-south direction I think feel really good because it is kind of a longer hitbox. Not quite as wide as some of the others, but the long hitbox does feel pretty good for these forward flicks and getting some power. This last one to get some good power. So I think flicks overall are really good with the Breakout. So the final formal test that I have set up for the Breakout here is aerials. And I'm going to be doing this basic aerials training pack here by Floomp. And I want to see how the car feels getting up in the air, adding some air roll, and really focusing on getting solid contact with the ball on the hood of my car or the nose of my car so that I'm hitting the ball nice and hard and getting strong shots. And I think that this is probably one of the best things about the Breakout. I think it's one of the things I liked most is getting up in the air is easy to see the nose, acquire the nose, and understand where you're going to be hitting the ball based on that. That feels really accurate. And the contact is really strong when you do hit the nose of the car. And so the flicks were pretty good, but I think the aerials is really the thing that I liked most about the Breakout. I have a couple of shots here that I'm not even moving that quick when I get to the ball, but I get really strong contact just because of the way the car is shaped and the way that the nose feels and everything. So I think this is really one of the strengths of the Breakout is in the air, getting strong contact and getting good directional control of where that ball is going. And it was honestly one of my favorite things. Even when I'm mishitting the ball, I am launching it, and I like the power in the air, and I like the control that nose gives me in the air. So really good feature of the Breakout, I would say, is the aerial game. So as I got the Breakout into games, I feel like its performance really just echoed the testing that I had done with it. I think that the flicks feel pretty good, but I think the best part of the car overall is the nose. The contact off the nose is just really clean, feels really strong, and really accurate. And I think that that's definitely the highlight for me. So if you can get over some of those things that are a little bit finicky and maybe a little touchy on getting the ball and keeping the ball on your car when you're dribbling, I think the flicks can reward you. And I think that the aerial game and the nose of the car in the air can definitely reward you overall. I think it is a good car for those types of things. and for players that are okay with some of the setbacks that I think it has. But I think the Breakout is a good car overall, has some pluses and some minuses, but those are my thoughts. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you hate the Breakout, if you love the Breakout, if you've never played it before, try it out and see what you think. So I appreciate all of you for being here, and always remember to stay passionate.